People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back. Hi guys, David O'Sullivan here, and yes, I'm back. In case you may have been wondering, which you probably have if you follow my channel, I haven't uploaded any videos in the past 4 or 5 months, and I thought I would address that straight off the top here. There isn't really a reason. I would say why I haven't put up a video up in months, but I don't know, it just sort of happened. I didn't plan on taking a 4 or 5 month break, however long it's been. I was making videos and then suddenly I wasn't, and then I didn't put another video up for another 5 months, and I didn't plan that. I didn't plan to take a 4 or 5 month break. I didn't plan on going away and not putting any videos up, but I don't know, it just sort of happened. I kind of just lost some kind of, I don't know, inspiration, creative juices are running low, I guess. I don't know. Toward the end of me putting videos up, before I took the break, I was just, I don't know, I just wasn't really enjoying it anymore, and I just was just doing it for the sake of doing it, just putting a video up for the sake of putting a video up. I was still enjoying it, but I don't know, I just, you know, my creative juices were running low, and I just decided to stop, and then I didn't know whether I was going to come back or not. I can't tell you how many times the past few months I planned on coming back. I've had so many false starts the past few months, and then now I just thought, what the hell, I'm going to come back. It's September now. I've taken like 5 months off. The whole of the summer I didn't put a single video up, but I thought I would come back now that, you know, we're getting into the autumn winter period. Summer's coming to an end. It's not as hot now, and to be honest with you, even though I didn't plan on taking a break, I'm kind of glad I did. I'm kind of glad it did work out this way, because it was so hot over the summer, and it's hot enough in this room as it is, under these lights, in this small enclosed space. It gets hot enough as it is, let alone with how hot it was in the summer. So considering how hot it was in the summer with the heat wave, I don't know if I would have been able to do it anyway, because it was so hot. But it's starting to cool down now. I thought I would come back, and one of the last videos I put up was an announcement for a Q&A. I didn't get a whole ton of questions, but it was like 5 months ago I put the video up, and I said I would do a Q&A, and then I never did. Like I said, I went away and never put another video up. So I thought my first video back, I'd do kind of like a welcome back video and answer some of these questions, because I feel like I owe it to the people that asked these questions. I said I would answer them in a Q&A, and then I never did it. So I thought I would come back now with this Q&A video, this welcome back Q&A if you like, and answer some of these questions I got. And also, if you feel like asking some questions in the comments down below, go ahead and ask, and I promise you it won't be another like 5 month wait between the announcement and the Q&A like there was last time. And the last time I did a Q&A was actually summer of last year, so it's actually been well over a year since the last Q&A. So if you do ask questions in the comments down below, I promise you it won't be another year wait to the next Q&A. So yeah, if you want to ask some questions that I may answer in the next Q&A, go ahead and ask in the comments down below. But for this video, as of right now, I thought I would just go back and answer some of the questions that you guys sent in on the last video. Like I said, I didn't get a whole ton of questions, but I feel like I owe it to you to give you my answers, because you asked some questions and I never got around to asking them. So first up here, from Another Time Yesterday, says, great channel, David. Well, thank you very much. Question: one of my favourite actors at the moment is Oscar Isaac, and I think he is brilliant in Inside Llewyn Davis. Also, I've got to say, I did read these questions when I first got them, but I haven't actually prepared any answers or written anything down, so a lot of these might be off the top of my head, although I have put some thought into it. So yeah, one of my favourite actors at the moment is Oscar Isaac, and I think he is brilliant in Inside Llewyn Davis. Have you seen it? Wondered what your thoughts are on the film, and what are some of your favourite films starring him? Thanks. I haven't actually seen the film. I know what the film is. I saw the trailers. I remember when it came out, actually, and a lot of people were buzzing about it. Was it a Coen Brothers film? I'm not sure. It might have been. But yeah, I know it was starring Oscar Isaac. Carey Mulligan might have been the film also. I'm not sure. Yeah, I was going to see it, and then just one thing led to another, and I never actually got round to seeing it. And I still haven't seen it, unfortunately. But I am planning on seeing it. I will see it at some point. I just haven't seen it as of right now, unfortunately. But I am a big fan of Oscar Isaac. I think he is a really great actor, a really quite underappreciated actor, because he's one of those kind of chameleon actors where he can look, I swear, like every film he's been in, he's looked so completely different. For the longest time, I didn't realise that, because the first film I think I saw him in was Ridley Scott's Robin Hood back in, when was that? 2009, 2010, and he's Prince John in that film, and he looks really different. He's got like different coloured eyes with the hair, and for the longest time I didn't realise that was him because he's such a good actor. So I thought he was good in that film. But some of my favourite films starring Oscar Isaac, Ex Machina, I think, was really good. Again, there's a lot of films, I'm kind of doing this off the top of my head here, but I remember when I saw him in Ex Machina, that was another very different role, playing kind of a bad guy, not a very nice guy in that film. He's kind of an arsehole, really. But yeah, I thought he was really good in that. He had the shaved head, the beard. He was playing this like this kind of genius, kind of like arsehole kind of character who recruits Stonewall Gleeson to his secret kind of base there in the mountains, and I thought he was really good in that film, so I really liked him in Ex Machina. Also, he appeared recently in Annihilation. I thought he was really good in that. Both Alex Garland films, funny enough. And yeah, Oscar Isaac. Oh, well, of course, he's in Star Wars. Yeah, I really like him as Poe in The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. I think he's really good in that role, and I'm sure there's loads of films I'm thinking of. I'm gonna have to search Oscar Isaac films because I'm bound to have missed a load of films that he's been in. Of course, he was N-Sabineur in X-Men Apocalypse. Of course, Star Wars. Most Violent Year. That's another one that I heard a lot of good things about when it came out, and I didn't get around to seeing that either. Oh yeah, he was also in Drive. Actually, that was probably one of the first things I saw him in. Oh no, funny, actually, Robin Hood was first, and then Drive. Yeah, he was really good in Drive, only a small part in that. And yeah, apparently he was in The Bourne Legacy. I don't remember him being in that movie. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Oscar Isaac. I think he's really great. And like I said, he's a very versatile actor, a real chameleon of actor. Where he just looks and acts really different in all the films he's in, where it's often kind of hard to recognise him, especially like in Robin Hood or in Ex Machina or in Force Awakens. You just take those three films, for example, where he was Prince John in Robin Hood, he was Nathan, I think it was, in Ex Machina, and then Poe in Star Wars. Those characters could not be more different from one another, and they're all played by the same guy, and I think that just goes to show how good of an actor Oscar Isaac is. So yeah, also a big fan of Oscar Isaac, and I will check out Inside Llewyn Davis as soon as I can. So thank you for the question another time yesterday. The next one is from Rich Reviews, who asked a few questions here. The first one is, what would you do if you were invited to Prince Harry's wedding? Yeah, so obviously this question was 4 months ago, and funny enough, I did actually watch the I'm not really all that bothered about it. I'm not one of these kind of royal family fanatics, but I remember the day the royal wedding happened. I didn't plan on watching it, but I just got up, I went into the front room, and it was on TV, and I just happened to watch the whole thing. So I had nothing to do, so I just watched it. Like I said, I didn't plan on watching it, but it just sort of happened, and it was actually pretty good. Because I remember the William and Kate one from like several years back was a lot more formal. It was in was it St Paul's Cathedral? It was in the middle of the city. It was a much bigger wedding, where this was more of a smaller, quainter, more casual in a way. It was in like the countryside, I think. In more of a smaller, cosier little church there. And yeah, I actually really enjoyed the ceremony. There were parts where it kind of dragged on a little bit too long. I never thought I'd be doing commentary on the royal wedding on one of my videos. But yeah, I actually kind of enjoyed the ceremony. And it was, yeah, like I said, I didn't plan on watching it, but I think it was pretty good. I actually had fun watching it. So those are my thoughts on the royal wedding. And the second question from Rich Reviews is, what is a film that your parents love but you utterly hate? Oh, all I can think of, funny enough, my mum especially, she loves the same kind of films I love, like sci-fi, fantasy, action. I go to see a lot of those films with my mum because she's also a big fan of them. Like she's a big fan of Blade Runner, for instance. And all like a big sci-fi fan and that. So whereas a lot of people, I think it's really weird and awkward because their parents don't like those movies. With my mum, she loves them just as much as I do. The only one I can think of, and I think this might have been the answer I thought of when I first read the question, was my mum and my sister, funny enough, really like this Ridley Scott Russell Crowe film called A Good Year. And I don't hate the movie, but I think it's one of Ridley Scott's worst films. I have to admit, I've watched it so many times on TV because my mum and my sister like it so much, especially my mum, and she just, whenever it's on, she seems to be watching it. So I've watched it so many times now that I don't actually hate it because it's kind of grown on me a little bit, but it's a really weird film. It's like, Ridley Scott is a really versatile director. He's one of my favourite directors and he's done so many different genres. He's done everything you can think of, but I think rom-com is the one that isn't for him. Like, he tried doing a rom-com with Russell Crowe in A Good Year. I don't think it quite worked. Like I said, I don't hate the film. I don't think it's horrible. But my mum and my sister really love it. And I just don't get it. I don't think it's a terrible film, but it doesn't really make me feel anything. It doesn't elicit any kind of emotions from me. It just sort of happens. Like, things happen and then it's over. And it's like, it just... there's moments in the film where it just feels a bit awkward and cringeworthy because it's like Ridley Scott trying to do a rom-com. And it's like he's trying to do it by the book. And it just doesn't work. Because with rom-coms, they need to feel like genuine. You need to have the feeling and the emotion in there. And with the Ridley Scott Russell Crowe film A Good Year, I just didn't feel anything. It just felt awkward, and I just don't think it quite worked. But yeah, that's the only one I can think of really that my mum and my sister like that I don't really like. I'm not really bothered about. And the next question from Rich Review is, what movie character best describes your personality? These are actually pretty good questions. I completely forgot about these questions, to be honest with you. Probably should have read them before I did the video, but what movie character best describes my personality? This is a hard one, because I'm one of these people where, not that I can never identify with characters in movies, but it's very rare where I come across a character in a film that really strikes a chord with me, that really kind of resonates with me. I kind of really connect with that character, because a lot of movie characters aren't really like me. But the one I can think of, I mean, there's a few, but if I was just narrow it down to one, probably Joel, played by Jim Carrey in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I'm not sure if you've all seen that film. It's one of my favourite films. I think it's really great. But his character in that movie is a lot like me, which is funny because Jim Carrey doesn't usually play characters like that. He usually plays really kind of crazy, zany, over-the-top characters. So seeing him as Joel in Eternal Sunshine was really quite different because he's playing more of a kind of, shy, awkward, introverted kind of character. He finds it hard talking to people and interacting with people. I mean, it's not exactly like me, but it is quite like me in that film. Also, a little bit of Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting. Not exactly like me. Like, all the swearing and the violence. That's not like me. I'm not a mathematical genius either, but I can relate to that character a little bit in Good Will Hunting in terms of him pushing people away a bit, finding it difficult to, get close to people and open up emotionally. I can relate a little bit with that. Funny enough, a little bit with Casey Affleck's character in Manchester by the Sea. Again, nothing with like the violence or getting into bar fights or anything like that, but a little bit of the kind of how his character in that film was very kind of withdrawn and found it difficult talking to people and communicating with people around him in his life. And I could relate a lot to that. So yeah, those are a few. Like I said, there's probably more than that, but those are a few off the top of my head that come to mind. And there's probably some bigger, more famous, well-known examples I can think of, but those are the few that I think are probably closely resemble me. I mean, not exactly me. That's not... there are other facets to me beyond those traits I talked about, but those ones most of all I think are most similar to me or resonate most with me. I can connect with them the most, especially the Jim Carrey character from Eternal Sunshine. And Fourth question from Rich Reviews: is the House of Lords just as dumb as it sounds, and would you love to be a hereditary peer? I'm not sure what that means. But yeah, the House of Lords, House of Commons thing is the Parliament in the UK. And I'm not going to pretend like I know what I'm talking about, because I don't know a lot about politics. I do know what the House of Lords and House of Commons is, but I probably don't know enough to be able to give you a good enough answer. But what I do know is, yes, there is such a thing as the House of Lords and the House of Commons. And yeah, they are a thing, but I don't know enough to be able to give you a good enough answer to that, I'm afraid, sorry. And last question from Rich Reviews is: if you could be a fly on the wall for the making of a bad movie, what would it be? I do remember thinking about this, actually, and I thought of a couple of examples. One being Batman and Robin, because it's just so hilariously awful. I would have loved to have seen what that would have been like on set. Maybe it wouldn't have been a fun atmosphere, maybe it would have been like a really horrible time shooting that movie. I don't really know any behind the scenes stories. All I've seen is the movie, which is hilariously atrocious. Yeah, so who knows, that probably would have been a very odd experience, watching that being filmed on set. And the other one is another bad movie, which I kind of have a lot of fun with, to get a kick out of, is Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman. Not a great movie, but it's one of my favourite guilty pleasures. I loved it when I was younger, and it's a little hokey, and it becomes so utterly and completely ridiculous by the end. But it's one of those movies that's so bad it's good for me. Like, I just have a real fun time watching Van Helsing. It's completely crazy and nuts and insane, and just the further on it goes, the more insane it becomes, until by the end it's just become completely and utterly ridiculous. But I kind of love it. I would just love to see what it was like on set with them shooting that movie, if they genuinely thought it was going to be something amazing, or if it was what the hell it was like on set shooting that film, because it is so utterly just crazy and insane. I would love to have seen what that movie would have been like, just the on-set experience of them shooting that film. I think it would have been a lot of fun. Thank you for the questions, Rich. Those were all 5 questions from Rich Reviews, and the next questions come from Meg Chiova, who writes, his first question is: what are your top 3 favourite coming-of-age movies of all time? I've forgotten how many good questions I've got here. I thought I just had a few little throwaway questions, but top 3 coming-of-age movies of all time. I'm going to be very broad and general here. I'm going to go Bambi for my first pick. You may think that's not a coming-of-age film, but it kind of is. It's Bambi coming into age. It starts with him as a young fawn, and it ends with him as a grown adult deer, taking over from his dad as Prince of the Forest. I think that is actually, it's probably my favourite animated coming-of-age movie, and it's one of my favourite films of all time. And I just love that film. So yeah, Bambi. Also, what more of a obvious pick, but still not that obvious, is Boyhood, I think. Boyhood is one of my favourite films of recent years. I know there's a lot of people that thought it was overrated, or didn't think it was as good as everyone was making it out to be. I thought it was the best film of 2014, and that's saying something, because I love Birdman and Whiplash and Snowpiercer and Nightcrawler. 2014 was a good year, but Boyhood was my favourite film that came out that year. Talking about characters I related to, that's another one. Absolutely that one. Mason in that character. I really was able to connect with him as a character and relate to him, because I'm basically the same age as he was, in all those years. As the film was kind of montaging or going through all those years of Mason at those different ages. So I was also those ages and those years as well. So I could, connect with the songs at the time and where he was and the journey that he goes on, and things that happen with him in his life, getting his first job, washing dishes, going off to university. It's kind of a lot like my life, actually. So yeah, I loved Boyhood. Third one, I'm gonna have to do a Google search here, because I don't want to miss something. Coming of age movie. Oh, Edge of 17. More of a recent one, actually, from 2016, but that was one of my favourite films of 2016, and I love that film. Also, actually, funny enough, Lady Bird from last year. Call Me By Your Name. Yeah. Juno, that's another really great one. Not the obvious picks, but I'd probably say Bambi, Boyhood, maybe Edge of 17. If I'm not counting Bambi, and probably Boyhood, Edge of 17 and Lady Bird, probably. Yeah, so I know they may be quite recent, Call Me By Your Name, Lady Bird, Edge of 17, but I think we've had some really good modern coming-of-age films the past few years, particularly last year. And I'm not someone who grew up, in the 80s, or all the kind of the 80s coming-of-age movies. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, of course, it would have to be up there. It's hard to narrow coming-of-age down to 3, to be honest with you, because it's such a kind of broad genre. Dead Poet Society actually is another one. Robin Williams, Ethan Hawke, really like that film. So yeah, coming-of-age really covers a lot of different films. But I'd probably go with those few recent ones, to be honest with you. Boyhood, Edge of 17, and Lady Bird, or maybe Call Me By Your Name as well. Either Call Me By Your Name or Lady Bird, I can't really decide. That would be my top 3 or 4, I think. But yeah, of course, we got classics like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which is great. Dead Poet Society, which is one of my favourite films. If we want to go really old school, we've got like the 400 Blows from back in the 50s. I actually really like that film. But yeah, I think I would go, if I'm talking about my favourite coming of age films, I think I would say there was recent films. I think Boyhood, The Edge of 17, and Lady Bird. Maybe Call Me By Your Name as well. I'm not sure if would Call Me By Your Name be coming of age, because I don't know if enough time really passes. It's only over the course of one summer. But yeah, I've actually really enjoyed these coming of age films we've had in recent years. I've actually been able to really kind of relate to them and connect with them, especially Boyhood and Lady Bird, and also Edge of 17 I thought was really great and really quite underappreciated as well. So that would probably be my top 3 off the top of my head. Thanks for the question. And next question from Mex Jova is, what do you think about Todd Solondz? I think he's one of the best and most unique filmmakers right now. And have you ever seen the German film Victoria? I've got to be honest with you, I don't think I know who Todd Solondz is. I've heard of some of the films he's done, but unfortunately I haven't seen any of his films, so I can't really comment on that. I've heard of the German film Victoria, but I don't think I've ever seen that either, so sorry about that, but I don't think I can answer those questions. But thanks for the questions. Next up, Daniel McAnally writes, congrats on 200, man. Here's my question. What is your favourite sleeper hit movie? Mine's Dread. Fantastic film that got screwed over but is loved by many. I feel exactly the same way. I love Dread. That came out 2012. I'm not sure if I call that a sleeper hit, because it wasn't really a hit. It was a flop, really. I mean, yes, in terms of like people now, it gained like a cult following, and the people that love it really love it, and it's got a really kind of devoted hardcore fan base. And I've got to be honest with you, even I missed it in cinemas. Not that I thought it was bad, I just missed it. I eventually got around to seeing it though, and I love the film. I think it's great. It's actually one of my favourite comic book movies. I think it's really, really good. I just absolutely love it. Sleeper Hit, I think I would probably say, and it's a similar thing to Dread actually, in terms of what happened, is Edge of Tomorrow. And that is a film that didn't do all that well at the box office, but later went on to become kind of a hit on home video. Like when it came out on DVD and Blu-ray, good word of mouth had got around by that point, and a lot of people that missed it in cinemas, I think, went out and picked it up on DVD and Blu-ray or streaming or what have you, and it actually did really quite well on home video, if I remember correctly. So well that they thought, well, this movie has probably become popular enough now that we could actually warrant doing a sequel, and they actually greenlit a sequel. It still hasn't happened yet. I think they're still working on it, developing it, still figuring out how they can fit it into the actors' schedules, figuring out scheduling and all that. But I think they are moving ahead with an Edge of Tomorrow sequel. But yeah, that was a movie that really, didn't do that well when it first came out, but later went on to become a kind of a hit on home video, because the people that saw it really loved it, constantly went on about it to everyone else around them. And I love Edge of Tomorrow, so I think that's, off the top of my head, my favourite kind of sleeper hit movie. I think it was really great. Thanks for the question, Daniel. And next up, Aaron at the Movies writes, congrats on 200 subs. What's your opinion on the way the Cloverfield franchise is panning out, and what would you like to see from it in the future? Yeah, so Cloverfield. This is a weird one, because obviously there was the Matt Reeves film from 10 years ago. I think it was 2008. I don't love the first one, but it's pretty good. Like I think it's a good film. I'm not crazy about found footage films. That's probably one of the better ones, to be honest with you. And then of course 10 Cloverfield Lane that I actually really liked that we got in 2016. A very different kind of film, because I don't think that was actually planned on being connected to Cloverfield at all, and then last minute they decided to kind of slap on that tacked on ending, which I think works, and slap on the name Cloverfield, which probably actually benefited, the movie probably benefited from that and got some extra money from the box office. I mean, it didn't do spectacularly well, but it probably got more money than it would have got if they hadn't had the name Cloverfield. And I actually really liked 10 Cloverfield Lane. I really liked the direction they went in with that movie, making it more of a smaller, contained suspense thriller, like still set in that same world with the aliens out there, but a very different take and from a very different angle and perspective. And Mary Elizabeth Winstead I thought was a revelation in that film. I thought she was great. John Goodman, of course, always great, always delivers. He was great in that movie, and yeah, I really loved that film. And then most recently we got the Cloverfield Paradox, which was a straight to video, kind of went on Netflix, and yeah, I didn't hate the movie. I actually thought it was kind of fun. I kind of got a little bit of a kick out of it because it was kind of another one of those so bad it's good movies. I thought it was just kind of hilariously bad at times. Like all the stuff with Chris O'Dowd and his arm, I thought was kind of hilarious. What are you talking about, arm? Yeah, but it wasn't a good movie. I'm not really sure what happened with that. And what would I like to see from it in the future? To be honest with you, I have no idea what direction they're going in. I think there is that new J.J. Abrams zombie film, was that going to be in the Cloverfield universe? I might be remembering incorrectly there, but I think the new J.J. Abrams zombie World War II film, is it? I'm not sure. Either it is in the Cloverfield universe or it was and it's not anymore. I can't really remember, but yeah, they seem to just be like kind of winging it and just going on, like looking at different movies and going, maybe that could be set in the Cloverfield universe, or maybe that could be set in the Cloverfield universe, and just deciding to just slap a Cloverfield label on a random movie at the last second. I think there was even talks that A Quiet Place was going to be a Cloverfield film set in the Cloverfield universe. Thank God that didn't happen, because I think it works really well on its own as a great little original film in its own right. I'm glad they didn't try to shoehorn that into the Cloverfield universe or try and slap the Cloverfield name on that, because I'm just glad that didn't happen. But yeah, honestly, I have no idea what direction they're taking this universe or this franchise in. I think they're just kind of just winging it and just seeing what films they could slap the Cloverfield name onto at the last second, or what film they could shoehorn into the universe. I don't think they've got any concrete plans. Maybe they do, I'm not sure, but I don't know, it doesn't seem to be working out very well. But 10 Cloverfield Lane is by far my favourite of the franchise so far. And finally, honestly, I don't think it would go on this line. I don't think I had enough questions. But finally, last question from Tom Heath asked, if you could have any superpower, what would it be? Obviously, this is a question that's asked all the time to everyone. But yeah, I'm not going to go the obvious one here. I mean, and there's probably two I can narrow it down to. And one would be teleportation. I'd love to be able to teleport. I've always loved the idea of being able to teleport, because yes, flying would be really cool, but teleport would just can be way better. You could just instantly go wherever you want, whenever you want, just in an instant. Kind of like Jumper. You know that film Jumper? Not a great film, but that kind of teleport where you could just go wherever you want. It would be really cool, you know. And you kind of don't need flight if you've got teleport, because you can kind of just teleport into the air and teleport around in the sky. You know what I mean? It's like they do some really cool things in that film Jumper. Again, not a great film, but the teleport kind of powers in that movie is something that I would love to have. That would be really cool. I just love to be able to teleport wherever I want, whenever I want. It'd be really cool. The other one would be telekinesis. I've also always loved the idea of having telekinetic powers, just to be able to move anything I want with my mind, like to be able to just move anything. And telekinesis is another one where you don't need flight if you've got telekinetic powers, because you can just telekinetically just levitate yourself, or you know, and you can just move anything or do literally anything. Like it's kind of like limitless with telekinesis, you know, kind of like Dark Phoenix. You can just do anything you want. The limits are only your mind, really. So yeah, teleportation or telekinesis would be the powers that I would most like to have, and a little bit more outside the box powers, not going super strength or flight or anything like that, but I would love to be able to either teleport or have telekinetic abilities. I thought that would just be really cool. So, there we go. Finally got through the questions. Like I said, I didn't think it would take that long. I didn't think I had enough questions there, but there were some actually really good questions, you know, favourite films from certain actors, favourite films of certain genres that, you know, I thought would only require short answers, but yeah. actually was able to spend a fair amount of time talking about that and actually kind of had fun. So there we go. Finally got around to doing this little Q&A there. And like I said, if you've got any questions you want to ask that I could answer in the next Q&A, go ahead and ask them in the comments down below. And I promise you that if I do get enough questions, I will do another Q&A and answer them. And I won't wait like, you know, several months or a year for the next Q&A, I promise you. So got any questions, go ahead and ask in the comments down below. And that pretty much wraps up this Q&A video. I'm probably going to make a comeback to YouTube. Kind of got this in mind as my first video back. We'll see. I've got plans. I've got kind of a schedule of videos that I could put up, like a video every week. I'd probably do that if I do come back and do start making videos again. I'm probably going to do like one video a week, because I've tried. There were times when I only put a video up every couple of weeks or every few weeks, and then there were times where I was putting multiple videos up every week, and I think that was a bit too much. You know, shooting multiple videos every week. I would shoot videos back to back, and sometimes I was just shooting videos for the sake of shooting videos. But I think one video a week would be good. That's kind of the plan anyway. If I do come back, I'll probably stick to a one video a week schedule and just do a video, put a video up like the same day every week. One a week would be the plan. So yeah, that's hopefully the plan for my comeback to YouTube. And like I said, got any questions, go ahead and ask in the comments down below. Got any thoughts, any opinions, anything you want to ask, go ahead and let me know. And as always, if you like this and you haven't already, be sure to go ahead and click subscribe to see more. I'll put some links to some of my other videos here. They're like 4 or 5 months old now, but a couple of my last videos over here. And that's pretty much it. So for now, I've been David O'Sullivan. I'll see you next time.